Okay, Ava. So last time we met, we talked about mean, median, mode, and range. And I know that it was something new for you and you may not have gotten it completely. But today what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and I'm going to reteach it and I'm gonna break it down. That way you can become a master with mean, median, and mode. Got it?
Got it.
So last time we were looking at this question right here, and it says the 5th grade students in Mrs. Lindsay's class made a line plot that showed the total amount of time they spent on homework for one night. And the problem discussed the different times that the kids spent on homework, from 0 minutes to 100 minutes. It discussed what time frame most of the kids spent. It discussed the median, and it also discussed the average, and we talked about that. And this was kind of a more complex problem. This is on a 5th grade EOG. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you another problem and I'm gonna break it down. So we said the mode was the number which occurs the most. And I brought these counting blocks because I wanted to show you a visual of how this works. So if I have this group of counters, so I have some blue counters, I have some black, I have some red, I have some white. Looking at this, if the mode is the number that occurs the most, can you tell me what the mode is? Blue, correct, because the blue is clearly the most, right? And so we also talked about the median. The median is the middle number. So with these counters right here, if these were all our numbers, right? We would line these up. Now with numbers, you're gonna go in order from greatest to least. But since this is our visual and they're not really numbers, these are just some cubes, right? So we line them up. So median is gonna be the middle number. So what we need to do first is we need to count how many cubes this is. So I see you're doing that already. 14. So with this, it's an even number. So what would be the middle of this?
It would be 7.
7. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put 6 on this side, that's 7, and 7 on this side. So the mode would be somewhere in here, right in between these two. So in order to get an actual amount, what we would do is we would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 7, and this is the 8 cube. So we would put those together. So I'm gonna write 7 plus 8. What's 7 plus 8?
15.
15. And I have 2 cubes, so I'm gonna divide by 2. How many times can 2 go into 15?
7.
7. But we're gonna have a remainder, right?
Yeah.
Remainder 1. So what do? We put
R1.
Or we can make a fraction. So we can put the 1 over the 2. And so now we know
Oh yeah.
our median is somewhere in the middle. It's 7.5, right? Okay? So we talked about mode, we talked about median. Now let's talk about range. So the range, and I'll show it to you like this. Think of these stacks as the numbers that we're analyzing. So we said that the range is the difference between the largest number and the smallest number. So the way that you would find the range is you would count these counters and you would tell me how much is on here.
7.
And how much is on the largest number. 11. So if it's the difference between the largest, which is 11, and the difference between the smallest, which is 7, what is the range?
4.
4. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Once we know our definitions and we can see them in front of us, right? Okay, and the last thing we're going to talk about is the hardest thing. It's the average. And so the way we're going to see average is this. And actually, let's use these again. So, how many blue counters do we have?
We have 5.
5 blue counters. So, I'm going to put blue. We have 5. How many black do we have?
We have 4.
4. So, we have 4. How many red do we have?
3.
And how many white?
1.
1. Okay, so what we're going to do is blue, 5, black. How much is black?
There's 4.
4. And I think, how many blue? Are you sure there's 5 blue?
Oh, there's 6.
6 blue, okay. And 4 black. How many red?
3.
3 red. How many white?
1.
1. So the mean, like we talked about, is the average. So we want to know what's the average number of blocks in each group. So we have a 6, we have a 4, we have a 3, we have a 1. The way that we find the mean is we find the sum of all of the groups, and then we divide by the number of groups. Okay? So it's going to be 6 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1. What's the sum of these numbers?
14.
14. That's correct. Now, how many groups of numbers do we have?
We have 4.
4. So we're going to say 4 divided by 14 to find the mean. How many times can 4 go into 14?
3.
3. 3 times 4 is?
12.
12. So we have a remainder again, right? And we can put the 2 over 4, but this can be simplified. Do you know how to simplify a fraction?
Yes.
What does this simplify as?
1/2.
1/2. So we know that our mean is 3.5. Okay? That's the average number of cubes in this group. Okay? Okay, so while we were working together and I was guiding you through how to do mean, median, mode, I wanted to show you a visualization so that it would be easier for you to understand. So do you understand a little bit better with looking at the cubes and the groups like that?
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful. So now we're going to actually look at a problem and we're going to dissect the problem for relevant information. So 2 teachers put the test scores for their math classes in order from lowest to highest. So Miss Smith's class test scores, the lowest person got a 75, the highest person got a 100. Mr. Jones's class, the lowest got a 72, the highest got a 98. So these are the scores. So what we're going to do is we are going to break this down. And first of all, what do you think are the most relevant pieces of information? Because the question says, which statement is true about the comparison of the 2 sets of test scores? And the question is talking about mode, median, range, and then this is median as well. So it really doesn't talk about the mean, but what do you think is important from up here? What are the relevant pieces of information? Usually you would highlight this as if you were doing a close read, but maybe just underline it or circle what you think is important. So 2 teachers put the test scores for their math classes in order from lowest to highest. So right, that would be important because it's almost like, remember when we were lining these up? And I was looking at the stacks and I did the stacks from the shortest stack to the tallest stack. Remember that? So that's pretty much what this is. So yes, that's the relevant pieces of information. So first of all, we're going to do mode, median, mean, and range. So let's go. The mode. We said the mode was the number that occurs the most. Okay, what is the mode in Miss Smith's class?
89.
So 1, 2, 3. Do you see any other numbers that occur 3 times? Nope. So I think 89. So we're going to put mode 89. Okay, Mr. Jones' class, what is the mode?
91.
91. Because that occurred how many times?
3.
Was it 3? Are you sure?
Let's see. 4.
4. Good. Okay, so now we want to see what the median is. Looking at this puzzle, can you see? And I love how they have it in the chart. Can you see what the median is? Because they already have it organized from least to greatest. So the median is the middle number. So what would be the median?
The middle number?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean by that again?
The middle number. So look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So which one would be in the middle?
And 5 is 3.
3. So him, because he's in the middle, right? So the chart would be the same thing.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
No, I want.
Well, let me help you out. The chart is visual and it's already in order. So you can actually look at it and see what number is in the middle.
Oh.
Because you have 2 rows here. What's 2 times 5?
2 times 5 is 10.
And you have 2 rows there. What's 2 times 5?
10.
So you have 10 here, you have 10 here, you have 2 on this side, you have 2 on that side. So what number is in the middle?
90.
Yep, circle that number for me. And you can do the same with Mr. Jones' class.
Mr. 90.
Wow. They made that easy for us because they put it in the chart. And I love visuals like that. Okay, so median.
I love your handwriting.
Thank you. So for this question, we do not have to find the mean. It would have been long because see all of these numbers? We would have to add all those numbers and divide by the number of numbers.
Ew.
Right? So let's talk about range. What would be the range for Miss Smith's class? We said that the range is the difference between the largest number and the smallest number. So what would be the range?
For Miss Smith class, that's,
Do you need to do working?
yeah. Oh yeah, 25, forgot.
Okay. So range 25. And what about Mr. Jones' class? Perfect. So 26. Now we have our information and we can answer the questions because it says which statement is true about the comparison of the 2 sets of test scores. So we're looking for what's true, right? So A says Mrs. Smith's class had a higher mode than Mr. Jones' class. So we organize our information.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. So can we eliminate that one? Maybe you want to cross out? Okay. Mrs. Smith's class had the same median as Mr. Jones' class.
That is true.
That's true. Now, before we circle it, maybe we want to look at the other options just to make sure. So we could put a dot right here, right? Mrs. Smith's class had the same range as Mr. Jones' class. Is that true?
Nope.
Nope. Mrs. Smith's class had a higher median than Mr. Jones' class. So what's the correct answer? Okay. So can you explain to me what we did here? How did we find the mode? The mode was what?
The mode was the number that occurred the most.
The number that occurred the most. Perfect. So you understand mode. What did you do to find the median?
The median is the number that, it's the middle number.
The middle number. So we kind of did it like this, right? And so he would be the median. Awesome. And explain to me how you find the range.
The range is when you, is the difference between the smallest number and the biggest number.
Awesome, awesome. And then, can you explain to me how you would find the mean, although we didn't do it for this problem? It was the one that was longer, and you do a two-step problem. So you would do what?
You would add all the numbers.
Yep, like we did with the cubes. So we did 6 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1, and then what did we do?
We had to divide it.
Divided by what? Look at the groups. How many groups are there? Look at the groups.
Oh, okay, so the average number, the sum divided by the number of 5.
How many groups do we have? Look at your visuals.
Groups? We have 4.
4. So didn't we divide by the number of groups?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Well, that was our lesson on main, median, and mode. Hopefully, by going over it again and showing you some visuals and also some more broken down examples, you understood it a little bit better.